Jordan, so quick analysis on what you thought Thursday.
Yeah.
Good, bad, both. You know, what you see good, what you see bad.
Well, I thought we played hard for the most part. I thought we adjusted well to some things that we haven't seen. Some extra tackle sets, some heavy sets, which quite honestly anticipated a little bit, not that much, but anticipated a little bit. I think that was a little bit of carryover from something they did last year. Where it was different was with the second back. So we had to figure out the eligibility of the formation, you know, where it was being set and what we had to, how we had to rotate and different things. So that really kind of, you know, we had to adjust for a while. You know, I thought our front played well, not perfect, but played well. But overall, I thought they played hard. I thought they were ready to go. I thought our effort wasn't an issue. Obviously, the negatives are, you know, too many busts on some simple things we had seen, and then missed tackles. And you know that's, you know, those are mistakes that are on me as more than they are the kids.
How often you see seven offensive linemen outside of maybe a short yardage situation, because they used that a number of times.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't know till right before kickoff where they had some tight end issues. We expected them to have some guys, and don't know why. Still don't know why. That's really not important. It's just expecting that in one extra tackle. But when they started getting to two, that was something. Again, we had to adjust the entire game to what we were getting. Where, you know, where's the big surface? Where's the just formation adjust with, you know, we were never going to go 5 D linemen. We were always going to be 4. You just have to get that set correctly to play the numbers that you're getting. So,
how do you have to play the RPO better?
I mean, really, you know, there's not with that particular call where they kind of get you sucked up in there. You just got to get it down. You know, you got to make a tackle. That's got to make a play on the ball and then make tackles. We had 2 people outside of the guy that had that guy in coverage could have got that down, and we didn't. And so, you know, tackling is, you can complain about it. It's the world we live in, and it's, you know, the approach. If you look across college football, you know, especially early in the season, it's everybody. And so, how do you know, I don't have a perfect answer on exactly how you fix it, other than you got to do it in some form or fashion. So, and that's hard to do, you know, going in, you know, with numbers and trying to protect guys. And so, you know, that's the world we live in.
Was some of that, especially in the safeties and in the secondary, due to not the greatest pursuit angles, and if that was the case, maybe transfers that played FCS or lower level getting used to the speed of the game?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's probably a little bit of that, and I think in the secondary, again, with you know, I'm never one to complain about rules and what is a penalty and what's not, but a lot of times I think that we, especially secondary guys, you know, we those guys a lot of times have to play perfect fundamentally when things are happening fast for it not to be a, you know, and that's, again, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, like, we expect them to, hey, perfect tackle every time, and that's not, you know, sometimes, you know, all those plays, you talk about the bang 8, some of those plays, and especially in third and medium to 3rd and 7 or 8, I mean, those things are short intermediate throws that are bang bang. And so, you know, if anybody that's never tried to make a play like that when it's bang bang, they need to go try it before they criticize a kid. No, we got to make the play. Like I said, I'm not, but you know, some of those going back to was poor angles, and then some of it's really just simple tackling technique. You know, keep the ball in your shoulder and run through the strike zone. As simple as I can make tackling. We got to be better at it.
You're already into your depth at corner. Is it a competition thing this week to figure out what you're not going to have McCormick for at least a half, so you're into your depth a little bit there?
Yeah, we just, I mean, who practices better will play the most, and that's, that's really the evaluation that it is throughout the year, particularly in fall camp. But that's, we got to have somebody, step up. So
On tackling, almost everything in sports, the more you work at it, the better you get. You can't work at tackling like you used to do. Is what's going on a result of that?
yeah, I mean, it's no different than anything that you do. I mean, if you don't ever write stories, you're probably not going to be very good at writing. I mean, that's just, and that's, again, I'm never going to make an excuse for the players or our staff defensively, but you just have to try to find a way to work it as full speed as you can, and that's something, again, I think everybody struggles with. You just watch enough football over the weekend, you're going to see it, and it's hard, but I mean, the more you do it, the better you get at it. The more you play, the more you do it. So that's what we got to do.
Encouraged with how you handle the run.
Yeah. I mean, I think that I kind of anticipated that, going in. We talked about it. We knew that was one thing they had emphasized in their off season. So obviously, we emphasized it with our guys. We knew that they're kind of a roundabout way of what they're playing, just overall run schemes, what they would run, and how they dress it up. That's all adjustments throughout the game. But the actual schemes that you see were something that that our guys were prepared for and did pretty well for the most part.
Neil said Dante played his best game as a Mountaineer. Your view? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think he did. I think it's the most complete game he's played within his job and fundamentally and within his job. And it showed, and that's one of the things we talked about with him throughout the course of the offseason. Some of the feedback that he got was also a part of that. So, yeah, I mean, I thought he did. Thought he played hard. Nobody's, again, you guys have heard me say this. I don't believe in mistake-free football. It's not the design of the game. So everybody makes mistakes, and Dante, made mistakes. I think everybody's going to in a game, but the overall complete game, I thought it was, yeah.
Edward Aaron got a lot of playing time, especially in the four-man front. And started coming on at the end of last year, got some time in the bowl game. What has his progression been like? You surprised that as an overseas player, he's kind of grafted, moved up this quickly?
Not really. A lot of times with defensive linemen, when you evaluate them, you see some things that naturally guys do well, whether it's pad leverage, twitch, hands. Just some guys have a knack for it, just like a corner has a knack to play a ball, or a quarterback has a knack to locate the ball, whatever it is. The defensive linemen have the same knack, and that's one thing that through the evaluation I saw with Eddie. And Eddie had to come in just like any not necessarily a true freshman, but on his clock, and the game had to slow down, and he had to get stronger. And so I think those things have shown. But I mean, Eddie's done a great job, and will continue to be a valuable role player for us.
Looking at Kansas, you only got 49 snaps to grade or to evaluate, and so it's kind of a hard game to really evaluate them against Tennessee Tech. But they did run the ball and looked like explosive plays. They didn't have to throw that much. What do you see?
Well, here's what I've told our guys since the minute that we got in the locker room, is that I've had this one circled, win, lose, or draw in the brawl. This was one that I've had on the radar for a long time. I don't have to see any more than 49 plays to know, and I'll give you a little history on it. So these guys are at Buffalo when we played them in the bowl game.
Right.
They do a phenomenal job. Schematically, how their kids play, the positions they get you in, and last year, we had our hands full. And I believe this, and I told the guys this Friday, was that this year I think that Kansas will be be talked about as one of the most improved teams in college football. I believe that. That's the kind of job I think they do.
It's interesting because he's got a bunch of Buffalo players that he brought with him, and particularly on the offensive line. So obviously there's a carryover there. So really, even though it's a new program, a lot of those guys are
Right.
familiar with what he's doing.
Yeah, and I mean it shows on tape, shows again what they do, how they do it, which is very impressive.
Hey George, all the discussion about the speed of your two linebackers, it seemed apparent out there, but what did it enable you to do, whether it's, I don't know, calls, lineups, blitzing, I don't know, with Lee and Lance, and then being able to run around and get to spots like they did? Their
Say the
speed.
question again, Mike.
Sure, the speed of your linebackers, those two, you talked a lot about that and how it would help. What were you able to do? What did you see about being able to move them around before the snap, from the blitz maybe more to get to the ball around corners? Just what type of a difference did you see that making out there?
Yeah, no, I think it did, particularly in the run game, where those guys have the ability. If I go back to, everybody's familiar with Tony Fields,
Yeah.
and the same ability is to erase some simple mistakes. That's what it does more than anything. It does give you the ability. You saw in the game with Lance some edge things that we haven't done before. With Lee, it's really just inside the box, C gap to C gap. How he runs. Again, he can erase some minor mistakes with that. So that's where it shows up more than anything. If that answers what you're asking.
I got one more. In your history of dealing with guys after rivalry games, how do you approach them, particularly when you fall a little bit short? How do you go about it with your guys?
Well, I mean, it's not gonna make or break our season first and foremost. And I know how just extremely important this game is, especially to our fans and even our players and people around our players. Like, I understand all that, and it's tough because we had opportunities, especially defensively, in key situations to get off the field and key situations not to commit the mistakes that we made, but we didn't. And so it's correcting those things and moving on to what's next. Pitt's a good football team. Where they go in this season, I don't know. I have my opinions. I'll just keep those to myself. But they're a good football team. We knew that going in, they'd be a good football team. Their quarterback is a legit player. The receivers are good players. Their offensive line is old and seasoned and solid. They probably knew what they're trying to do, but do a pretty decent job. So credit goes to them, and that's as far as it goes for me and the guys. Like I said, I've had this game and here's the thing, because win, lose, or draw emotionally coming off of it, you got to go on. It don't matter who it is, you got to go on to what's next. And if we just correct the mistakes and get better, then we'll be fine. So you just can't let it linger. It's not, it's first game.
Okay, thank you very much, Coach.
Thank you.